Hello everybody, welcome to ArmA 3. We're going to be going over something a little different on my channel, not really gameplay, but something just regarding the ArmA 3 unit that I run, the 13th Marine Expeditionary Unit, or 13th MEU. This is a video for those of you that are either looking for a unit and want something that's casual Milsim, like us, the 13th MEU. And we are currently actively recruiting, and this video is just going to show one of the first things and the first steps to become a fully enlisted member into the 13th MEU. So with that, once you get past your application and orientation or interview phase, you'll go through your training, which everybody is required to go through BCT or a BCT or a basic combat training or boot camp, or also known as recruit training. I usually call it recruit training. You can call it boot camp, you can call it your BCT, whatever, all the same thing. So this is basically the start area, and I will be covering the curriculum that we do have and what we will be covering. So the 13th MEU is a casual Milsim unit, just to start off, and we don't have by the book military training per se. So for those that are looking for something, I guess, kind of hardcore, by the book military, the 13th MEU is not the place. We use tactics and real world strategies and trainings that apply to ArmA. So we teach recruits how to use the ACE medical system, how to use their radios, how to communicate over radios, the weapons that we use, and the formations that we run, how to dismount properly from vehicles, and so on and so forth. So there's a few different steps here, and this is, by the way, this is not going to count as anybody's BCT. All members are treated equally in the 13th MEU. If you enlist, you're going to have to go through your basic training or recruit training, no matter what. It's just one of the things. It's just a way to make sure that all members are ran through the same process and treated equally here. So starting off, when you get into your recruit training, this is where you're going to start. You're going to have 2 arsenal boxes and a teleport flag. So your instructor will go off by introducing themselves and probably ask you guys for an introduction. They'll just kind of do a run through of like what to expect and how long the training will take. Now, training could take 1 to 2 hours, sometimes longer if there are longer breaks, or if there's like more questions, or depending on the class size as well. But typically it'll run from like an hour to 2 hours long. Depends on how fast things get brought through. So the first thing, and the first real thing you have to go over, is really the your weapon familiarization. And the way that you are going to go through that is you're going to go inside one of these 2 tent hangars here, and there'll be like a little slideshow of the weapons and stuff that an instructor will go over with you. So if you go in here, and you can, these are the different slides. Now, instructor will be up here, and we'll be, I can get further away from this so I can see further. So we'll go over something like rifles here. So we'll just go over the rifles that we use, the M4A1 and M16 carbine. Now, with the M4, we are pretty lenient on the M4s. We do run the M4A1 or the M4 Block 2 and the Mark 18. We do run the M27, and we also run the M16A4. We do not run the HK416 in our normal day-to-day weekend operations. And then we'll go over like pistols, which is something I can cover for you guys. But the M9, the Glock 17, and the 1911 are the pistols that are allowed to be used. And we go over like task force radio, just how to use the radio, for those that may not be familiar. Now, I will say one thing: if you are already familiar with the stuff in this BCT, yes, you're still gonna have to go through it. But if I'm instructing and you tell me like, oh, you know, I have experience in T5 or experience in ACE, I will ask a few questions, and all instructors will ask a few questions just to make sure you know your stuff. If you know your stuff, then you won't have to go through the full course, because it would just be kind of pointless and a waste of time. So here you just go through radios, learn how to use TFAR, basic TFAR. Backpack radios will not be covered. That is, backpack radios are a leadership thing. Then we got like vehicle dismounts here. Just teaches you how to dismount from the vehicles and the distances and stuff from different vehicles. Then we also go over ACE medical. We go over like the medical menu, what everything is, how to use it. We do use advanced ace medical for those that are not sure, but go over all that stuff. And we also go over land navigation, basically just how to read land nav and also like how to read grids and stuff. And this isn't in order, by the way. I'm reading this all off just here because if I was going to do it in order, then we'd be jumping around the map a lot. So you can see like spurs, cliffs, valleys, depression, ridge, hill, saddles, and draws. It's the different land navs there. So that's what you can expect in this room here in this phase. And then the next phase, or within this phase as well, we also go over like the sites that we can and can't use and things like that. Basically anything Russian or OP4, generally OP4, is not allowed. We use like US sites and optics, or soon optics attachments only. However, like I said, we are pretty lenient, so things like CCOs, RCOs, SU-230s, and the like the vanilla sites like the EOTech and the Seymour and the LCAN and stuff like that, we do allow those. So after that, you'll kind of get a rundown of the vehicles that we use, like Humvees, the different MRAPs, different helicopters that we use operationally, and just get familiar with those. We use AV-8Bs, F-35s, and so on and so forth. So moving on to the next, this is all phase 1. So phase 1, you're going to enter in and you're going to go over weapon familiarization, and then you're going to cover vehicle dismounts, and then you're going to cover task force radio, and then you're going to cover the shooting range, which I'll bring you guys to the shooting range. And the shooting range, when you go through your recruit training, you will be brought through your marksmanship qualification, and I'll run down how that works once we get there. By the way, here's the map of all of our stuff, all the ranges. We use Habantes terrain. We can see like this is the whole aviation training area. This is the artillery impact range. Artillery firing positions are there. And then just around we have like ranges and stuff. This is the marksman qualification range, so it's range 18. And then over here we have like range 2 grenades, AT range, bounding, formations. And then we keep on going up here. We'll have the CQB, the urban ops or mount training there. And then going around we have like the armor ranges, which all of this is pretty much armor ranges and counting these two. Then we have the artillery firing range there as stated earlier. Then we have a few just rifle ranges and then 40 mic range. And then we have the IMV range, which is the infantry mobile vehicle, which is like MRAPs, Humvees, things like that. And then coming down here we have the airfield, so the airfield where like helicopters, jets, and whatnot will be. And then over here we have two carriers. We have the LHD and the aircraft carrier, the USS Nimitz. So here we have like, we're going to have F-18s, and then LHD we have like Harriers, F-35s, and helicopters there. And just some more aviation training areas located there. So we're going to go over to range 18. I'll show you guys that, as this is part of the phase that we are currently covering right now. So if we go over to range 18, I'll teleport you directly to range 18 here. And these are the ranges here. So the way that this works is each recruit will shoot off a full magazine, so 30 rounds. So now there is a slight bug that we noticed when we're testing these, and we noticed that rounds can ricochet off a sign or lag in the server and can count as a double hit. With that being said, we are still going to count that. We're not really hardcore or anything like that, so if you get like 32, even though you fired off 30 rounds, it will still count it as part of your score. So other than that, you basically shoot the targets. You can see the range numbers are 5, and then you can see that there's a number 5 above all your targets, and then 4 is black, and then that way you don't get confused. So what you would do is you fire 7 rounds at the first target, 7 rounds at the second target, 7 rounds at the third target, 7 rounds at the fourth target, and then your last, what should be 2 or 3 bullets at the last target, the 500 meter target. So you're only shooting up to 500 meters. And this is going to be with an M4 with an ACOG, by the way, so no iron sights. So I would demonstrate it. Actually, we'll go and just do a quick demonstration now, so as to how this works. So with this, there is no cheating, and the way that the system counteracts cheating is that it broadcasts the score of the recruit on the range. It counts their score. It shows their score to the whole server. So all they have to do is just register as rifleman, and there we go. I'm registered. Take your position, and then you start firing downrange. My sights are off. There we go. So you just fire like all your rounds. I'm not going for like accuracy or whatever, but let's say if I fire off all my rounds. Alright, so that's a full mag, and then I put my weapon on my back, and then I'd go to this sign here, and then I would go to show score, and you can see I got a 79 with 30 rounds. So that's how this range works. And then we'll also you're not going to be directly put on the rifle range here. You're going to be brought through like a dry run, just to kind of get the hang of. If you're new to Ace, Ace does change ballistics, so we'll bring those that are not familiar or used to Ace on a run at a blank rifle range, then bring them to this rifle range and have them do their marksman qual. Once you are done with the shooting range, there's also more stuff going to be covered, types of suppression, types of firing orders, and things like that, but I'm not going to cover that now. Then you'll go over your marksman qual. After your marksman qualification, you are now done with phase 1. You are now going to go on to phase 2 of the training. Phase 2 training, you're going to go over formations first. So we're going to go to the formation. Alright, so we are here at the formations, and that doesn't sound too good happening on the aircraft carrier, but we're here at the formations. So I don't have the teleporter flag set up here. It's probably on my other update, but yeah, here's the formations field. Here it's gonna be run through of all the formations, but first let's go ahead and hop on in here. So first you're gonna be brought through running all the formations, their strong points, their weak points, and the best place for them to be used, and so on and so forth. So we'll pull up the wedge, for example, and this is what you're going to see. So you're going to see the two different types of wedges. There's a weak side right and a weak side left, or strong side left, strong side right. And then there's also an odd wedge, which is not posted on here, which is basically like 5 people. So yeah, there's just different formations here, showed, displayed, and then I'll show you guys the minimum spacing of the formation. So with that, you'll go through the slideshow. And once you're done with the slideshow, they're going to bring you out, the instructors are going to bring you out here, and then they're going to show you what your formation should look like in real time. So like, if these were actual players, or if this was us operating, this is what the spacing should look like. Primarily the spacing and the shape of the formation. And then you'll be covered in more depth as to the use and the purpose of these formations, and firing sectors, or areas of security. So pretty simple, pretty straightforward, nothing complicated about the formations. After formations, you guys are going to be sent to fire team maneuvers, which is just going to be right down the road from here, but I'm going to teleport because I don't have a vehicle right now. So squad maneuver, or fire team, or small team maneuvers, sorry, small team maneuvers are going to be right in here. Just teleport here, and then again you're going to be put in a classroom in one of these tent hangars, and then you're going to be given another slideshow just to kind of help you guys out with visualizing what to expect. So this is going to be bounding and peeling. So there is this bounding here, which is there's successive, and then there's alternate bounding. I'm not going to explain it. The picture does explain it pretty good, but of course on your training day, if you end up joining 13th MU, this is what you'll go over, and then we'll just view peeling as well. So this is the peeling image here. So other than that, let's go and head out onto the field. The field doesn't have any examples. The field is actually where you're going to run the exercise. So you and your team are going to actually run a bound and a peel across this field. So simulating you guys are in actual combat. After small team maneuvers, you guys are going to go over land nav next, which land nav is basically reading the grid lines, the grid numbers, how to read them, and then looking at the contour lines, and then also looking at like different features of the map and also learning how to do this here by changing your map, and etc., and just generally how to read a map. Most people tend to already know how to do this, but for those that are new and don't know, we will be covering this in depth as to how to read the terrain, the map, and grids. I'll also teach how to read a compass and how to properly call out its bearings and so on and so forth. So with land nav covered, you will then be moving on to phase 3, which is the last phase and closer to your graduation. So in the last phase, this is where you cover ACE medical, and how to diagnose people when they're wounded, and then you're done. ACE medical is the very last thing to do on the list of our recruit training. And that is really starting to lag out my game, so let me go ahead and delete whatever is blowing up over there. Yeah, it's everything inside, so let's go and delete all that. There we go. But other than that, that's pretty much it. Once you guys go over ACE, ACE medical, that is, which is probably going to be the longest part of everybody's training, you're pretty much done with training, and you'll never have to go through BCT again. The only other mandatory training after this that you're going to have to cover is your individual training. So it's either, if you're infantry, you go to School of Infantry; if you're ArmA, you go to ArmA training; if you're aviation, you go to aviation training. And we may or may not make videos of those in the future. We'll see about that, but other than that, that's pretty much it. This is the 13th MEU's recruit training just run through. Again, this does not count as anybody's BCT viewing this video. If you do have experience from other units and real world, and you do join the 13th MEU, we will cut you slack. However, we will kind of have like a few questions, and not really like a written test or anything, but just some questions to make sure you know your stuff, and make sure you're not bluffing, trying to get through a BCT or recruit training. But other than that, like I said, 13th MU is recruiting. If you guys are interested, look in the description down below, or I will post in the comments our website and our forums. You want to post your application on our forums. By the time I'm uploading this video, the 13th MU is a really small unit. We have 5 members total as of right now, but we plan on growing larger to a proper MEU size and operating as an MEU in large-scale operations. So if we want to see this unit exceed, we need members, and that means you guys watching this video. If you guys are free of being a part of a unit, we do not allow double clanning. So for those of you that are already in a unit, think about joining or anything, double clanning is not allowed here. But if you guys are free and available, the 13th MEU is open in recruiting. Again, links down in the description and in the comments section. I'll have a post down there of the websites and our forums. And if you want to just have a good time, just have some fun on ArmA, casual Milsim the fun way, then 13th MU might be a good place for you. Other than that, guys, thank you guys for joining. Thank you guys for tuning in. Hope you guys have a great last bit of the year, actually. So it's coming up on the new year. So hopefully you guys are having a great new year so far, or had a great new year if you're watching this after. Other than that, guys, have a great night. I'll see you guys in the next one.